So introduce yourself.
All right, I'm John, N9OL, and I'm going to start this discussion off. I'm not an expert on this technology. There's probably more than several people in this room that know more about it than I do. But I'm going to kick off the discussion, and we're going to talk about and take questions about Yaesu radios, Yaesu Fusion, and programming. Anything else that's on your mind, we can talk about, because I don't have a big long presentation. Okay, I'm gonna kick this thing off, and I'm gonna sit down. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Up on the screen, I just want to tell you about where these repeaters are, and folks not familiar with it or wondering how they can get on the system. Here's where the repeaters are. The down in the bottom in the red are the TARS repeaters, TARS digital repeaters. We also have a wide area system on analog, the 146.790. That is an EMA District 10 repeater system. And so I didn't put it on this map, I'm just showing the digital repeaters. So the rest of the TARS repeaters are digital. You see we have one in Burnt Prairie, Illinois. We have on West Side on the campus of USI. We have one on Deaconess Hospital downtown. So you see the TARS in Midtown. And then we have one near the interchange of 69 and 64, just east of that, north of east of that. So those are the TARS machines. Those are Yaesu Fusion digital only. So there's no analog available on these nodes. You've got to have a Yaesu digital radio to get into them. The cool thing about that is these repeaters are attached to a Wires X room called N9OL South, which is managed by Jerry up in, I think he's in Washington. Is he Washington? Yeah. So he manages the W9ILS, or N9OL South. It's a Wires X room. And what Wires X is, you can create a room and it sits on a server, and you can attach to that over the internet. So all these machines have an internet connection and software running that allow that machine to talk via the internet to that digital room. Okay, and then all the repeaters and nodes that are attached into that room are connected. So if you talk on one, everybody hears you. So that's the concept. And so this is quite a nice wide area network that's created here. Our repeaters are part of it. And as you can see, the coverage is in southwestern and west central Indiana are pretty good, and it's growing. Yes, sir.
What are the freaks for the digital TARS?
Yeah, I should have put that on there, shouldn't I? If you go to w9og.net, they're on there. So the west side is 146.835. Northeast is 145.250. Burnt Prairie is 147.330. Yeah, thank you. I get it. And then the TARS Midtown, it's not connected yet. We're working on that. It soon will be, and it's 147.150. The nice part about that one is that provides pretty good coverage in downtown and midtown Evansville. If you got an HT, you should easily be able to get in the system in the downtown area. The TARS Northeast machine provides real nice. It's got a great footprint. Provides good coverage for Newburgh, probably the eastern half of Warwick County, easily. Correct me if I'm wrong if I'm misstating that, but that's my impression of that machine. So that's got pretty good coverage. Of course, the Burnt Prairie machine's got a monster footprint, and it's got pretty good coverage in that area as well. So then you start getting up north, and those are some of the other operators' machines, and all those are connected into the room. So as you're traveling up, if you go to Indianapolis traveling either 41 or 69, you can, if you've got those repeater frequencies in your radio, and you can move from each one, you can stay connected all the way up to darn near Indianapolis, if not in Indianapolis. So pretty good coverage on the repeater network. The other nice part of that is there's always somebody on there. You know, for a long time, amateur repeaters have sat quiet. You log in, you try to announce yourself even in a big city, and you hear crickets. Repeaters were just not used very much in the last few years, really. But this is changing the game, so you can connect more people into the room, and there's a great bunch of guys that hang out in the ILS network. So give it a shot. It's there.
Now, can you go into more than just that room?
The short answer is yes. It depends on the repeater owner and how they've configured that repeater or the node. If it is a repeater, then they've allowed you to do the commands to redirect it to another room that you can. If you're going to do that on a regular basis, it's always good to drop the owner an email. Say, hey, I'm going to do this, do you mind? But yes, you can. You can also connect to it through what they call hotspots. If you've heard of a hotspot, look it up on the internet. So the Indiana Link South does have a machine that you can access it through the hotspot. I forgot what they call it now, but
Reflector.
yeah, a reflector. Thank you. So you could use that to get in there. So yeah, this is a good order.
Before I knew what I was doing, I actually talked to Denver, Colorado, England, and North Korea, or South Korea, excuse me. I'm not talking to North Korea.
When you look up hotspot, look up MLDVM, and it'll give you the hotspots that you want, not just a regular hotspot for internet. But,
But you still have to have a Fusion radio to connect that hotspot.
yeah.
So yeah, so there's maybe other ways to do that. I know some folks run a hotspot in their mobile, and they run to the internet. They use like a cell phone, the internet service on their cell phone, and they go anywhere they want in the country or whatever. So there's a lot of possibilities to experiment with and set up when you get into the digital world. So that's another nice thing about that too. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
So yeah, you can and you can set up a node at home. You can set up Yaesu software is free. If you get the radio and the cable or whatever you need, you can do a personal node at home and connect to the Wires X, connect to the Indiana Link South room from your home as well. So there's lots of possibilities there. Yaesu Wires X. I mean, it's definitely worth digging into and learning about.
Yeah, see, where I come from in Las Vegas, I've never heard of Fusion Radio.
Yeah.
What we have out there, we have two different types of groups. We have IRLP, which stands for the Internet Radio Linking Project, and we also have a WIN system. Those are both similar to Wires, or to Fusion, but they work from any analog radio. You do not have to have a specific brand. Any radio on analog can check into those. So there's a lot of similarities, but the nice thing is that it's not radio specific, manufacturer specific. It's just anybody with those frequencies can get in. And what was nice is because I knew a guy who had what we call the Western reflector that people could link into, and it was always linked to worldwide areas. I talked to China and Australia and stuff like that all the time. But it was nice because it was available for any radio, not just specific manufacturer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's pros and cons to both.
Huh?
There's really pros and cons to both.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, I'm not. I know there's Fusion out in Vegas because I've talked to people out there.
Yeah, it's just very new out there, I would think.
Yeah, and some areas, D-Star is the big thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of D-Star out there.
Yeah.
DMR is growing to be very big out there also.
Okay.
Do you have anything that you can connect now on the RLP?
Do I have anything?
Yes.
No, I don't.
I had never been able to get into that, never had the money to do it, but I'd like to be able to do it. You can link IRLP to a computer with a node, like you were saying, for Fusion, but then you can also link it for computers.
There was an IRLP, it's reflector 80, or I don't know, it might be 0080, but it was linked to this Indiana link. And they have problem with internet IP addresses, but it will be linked back again here probably shortly, probably within the next month or so. Reflector 80, experimental work out there, people are talking.
It was a lot of fun though.
Okay, so that's our systems. That's how we connect into the Indiana Link South room. And I think, Kevin, do you have anything to add on other ways that people are accessing that? Or?
There, I know it's not there now, but Handshake Hotline will be back, and Echolink will be back on the system too. And maybe All-Star. So, ever since the IP crash at the cloud, messed everything up there, let's get that sort of get back to. As far as the original system, wires X system, all that stuff is up and running correctly.
Now, you say wires X, the FT60 is capable of wires, would it be capable of connecting to Fusion?
60?
FT60?
I don't know what a 60 is like.
No, it's
I would say no, because the only thing I know would be the 70, 2, 3, 5 HTs, and 100, 200, 300, 400.
Yeah,
And
FT60
of
is
course,
right
the
with
900.
the FT70.
FT60's analog.
That's right, yes, it is.
Are you sure you're not talking 65?
No, I've got an FT60 right here.
I don't know what a 60 is. 65 and
There's old wires mode that put a phone on.
Yeah, it's
Analog only.
wires connect to certain repeaters.
You got one, but I have previous version.
Yeah, and they're really not related.
Okay.
Another quick comment that I might make, you were talking about the hotspots. I do know of people that are using like DMR or D-Star radios, whatever, to talk into a hotspot and cross over into wires X.
You can do
That has its own set of problems, but it can be done.
Usually DMR is hot.
So, just to kind of clarify that.
All right. Good questions. Keep them coming. I mean, we need to, this is a good discussion. This is the website for the Indiana Link South. If you want to get on there and take a look at what it's all about. And
Can we get
there's,
the lights again?
huh?
Can we take care of the lights again so we can see there?
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's the W9ILS.com. That's the list of all the repeaters, including, the TARS ones are on there as well. And then the TARS website.
How don't you go to the dashboard?
You know more about this than I do, Kevin.
Yeah. This is the dashboard. And if you can scroll up through there, I can't read it, but if somebody's talking, we'll key up there and you can see on the top row right there. And then you can see like how people are connected. I can't see it here. Some of them, if there's hotspots and other people, there's other ways that will show the little people are connected for the last curve on there.
And if you click on those call signs, it'll take you to QRZ and let them up.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yep.
Is there any way to listen through that function, through the dashboard, or? No. Used to be. There used to be.
All right, so that, that's Indiana Link South. Any other questions about that?
What's that website again?
W9ILS.com. Take a look at that. So that is where all of our digital repeaters are connected to. They are set up to where you can change the room, but after a few minutes of connectivity, it's going to default back to Indiana Link South. That's how we've got ours set up. The TARS website has a repeaters page, and I think most of this information is up to date. I saw maybe a couple of issues, but these are all the vital frequencies and stuff that you need.
What software do you buy for programming?
RT Systems is probably the best. It's it's an extra $30 that you have to pay on top of the HT, but I think it's well worth it. This thing's not displaying properly, or I'd show you the systems, but as with any software that you use to program your radio, the first thing you do is read from the radio.
You have to download the firmware.
Huh?
You have to download the firmware, that's why you read from it first,
Yeah.
is to download the radio's firmware.
Yeah, so you download, it gets all the information from the radio that it needs.
That's the way it starts.
And with Yaesu handhelds and mobiles, it's the best way to do it is use the SD card. So you don't need a cable at that point. I mean, so when you open the program for the first time, you get a blank screen, you read the information from the radio, then you take the SD card, put it in your computer, and then you say get the data from the radio, and it'll be an SD card option. So then you import that in, then you make the changes to the channels and whatnot that you want to make, and then you save it out as a master file. So it's pretty easy. RT Systems is the way to go. Yeah, for sure. Yes.
I have a question, John. I hope somebody in the room might know the answer to this. I access wires next through my hotspot. I don't have the software on my computer because AC only provides the software for Windows-based computers. They don't offer for Mac. That's all I got is Macs.
Yeah.
And I can't find anybody. I did find somebody who has the software that's OS X, and it's from wires-x.uk. It's a UK website. I'm afraid to download it. I don't know if it's legit or not.
Yeah.
I just wonder if anybody happens to know what anything of the Wires X software for Mac. Never again.
I don't.
Go back, never go back.
I mean, Yaesu has officially stated that Windows is the platform. They're not going to put it anywhere else. So if that exists, then someone else has reverse engineered it and built something to do with that.
I heard that the RT Systems is radio specific. If you've got Model X, that's all it will do. And you have to buy the license again if you've got Model Y.
Correct.
Even though it's still the Yaesu radio.
Correct. That is correct. It is
Okay.
model specific. Unfortunately, that's the case. But
Okay.
yeah. I guess they want your money.
They're $25 for a 3 or a 5 or a 300 or 400. Each one is separate.
Depends where
For
the
if you use the SD card. There are some that, like the
2980s, 7250.
that 7250s, you have to buy the cable.
And you have to be very careful because
I think you
not all
might.
cables are the same. Just because they'll plug in doesn't mean they'll work.
Of course, that's costing more when you buy the cable.
Yeah, that's another $20.
I don't know what that costs.
Something like that, 'cause I have to buy it.
I use it, I start it on.
7250.
If you get the cable from RT Systems, it's pretty well guaranteed to work, so.
It will.
It's worth.
Just remember, first thing you have to do is format your card in the radio, and then write it to whatever's in your radio to the card before you take it to the computer.
That's the key.
And if that card has been formatted in NTFS format at any time, the radio will not read it. It will not acknowledge it even being inserted.
You know, the first time I ever heard that either.
I fought that and fought that until somebody just happened to drop that little bombshell on me. And I put it back on my computer, formatted it in FAT32, and voila, it worked.
So let me ask you a question, RT Systems. So if you've got 3 Yaesu models, you want them all with the same memory channels in there. Okay, so you get the one set up just how you like it.
You can make them all the same.
You can make
Okay,
one
what's
cut
the best way to
paste.
do it?
With the
Cut and paste.
exception of the 400. Because the 400, you know,
400 has a dual band, two different things.
it's analog only on the bottom, so it has a separate column on it. But you could load everything like off the 300 or the 3 or the 5
Yeah.
in the A band, and it would be the same.
How do you load it in there? Do a copy paste or import export or?
I copy paste.
I copy paste.
Yeah.
That's how I
Okay.
do it.
You can highlight the whole left row and then copy it up there.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yes, sir.
On the Yaesu, 400 is, I guess, the top of the line. They've got the 300, the 200, and the 100. Which one, between the 2 and the 300, besides the price, is there any big difference between the two?
The 300 is dual receive, the 200 is single receive.
Oh, which is, okay, so it's
The
dual.
400
versus-
is older, you would think it's the newer one by the number, but it's actually, the 300 is the newest one. They can do digital in both bands.
Oh, okay.
400 only does one band, lower band does zero.
Oh, but the 400's been out for 10 years.
Yeah, I know that. It was still higher priced, I think.
I don't know why it's our price.
Yeah, it's, I get the 300.
Because people like that, think they like that big screen.
Honestly, the resolution is better on the 300. The 400 has larger print, but worse resolution.
Does the RT System program for the 400, is it the same one for the 400 DR and XDR?
I would say no.
I think it is, but I think it's the
I
same,
think it is.
because I haven't found any difference.
If it's different, they'll have 2 different versions on RT Systems website.
Yeah. Okay.
I would say that the 400s are probably going to discontinue here one of these days shortly. They'll probably come out with a new one with a larger screen on. Probably increase the price higher than what the 400 is now. So for $50, I'd buy the 300 over the 200 because you got 2 bands.
Hey, John,
Yes.
I brought an open spot 4, if anybody wants to see it or
Okay.
touch it or.
That's a,
This one will do a translate, so you can come in Fusion and go out DMR,
okay.
or digital, or
D-Star,
D-Star.
it'll do it.
Okay.
P25, NXDN,
So when we were talking about hotspots, that's one of them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a converted DMR signal to Fusion?
Now, I couldn't hear you.
Does that convert it, am I hearing right, it'll convert DMR to Fusion?
Well,
Yes, and vice versa.
yeah, you just, click on which radio you have, and then you just go from there. So it'll do either. I just have to have a Yaesu Fusion.
There's some setup to do, right? I mean, you got there, on my hotspot at home, I've used it to go with my Fusion, input with digital Fusion, and then output DMR. There is a special reflector you gotta configure in there for it to attach to do some of the translation. But there are some setup steps. But yeah, you can use a C4 FM radio to talk to the hotspot, and you can attach to DMR talkers.
I mean, this just keeps you from buying 5 different radios. You buy one of these and a digital radio, you're good to go.
What do those normally run?
This was like $340 from somewhere overseas, Callanan, wherever that is. That too makes some Shark RF.
Maybe someone could explain what a hotspot is and why you want one, and what good is it, and what does it do? Is it better than talking to the computer, or, and who makes it?
A hotspot, and correct, I guess this is my interpretation. It takes, takes one, it's good to take one digital format and convert it to another. So it does the digital conversion into different formats, and,
So for connecting to the internet, for instance, is that format?
What they do is you take a digital radio and you connect to that hotspot, and then that hotspot.
By transmitting into it, yes.
Yeah, and then
does
that.
it transmit back to you? Is it a?
Yes,
Oh,
it
it's a
transmits
radio
back, so
also.
it's a radio, it has a radio in it. It's usually milliwatts, it's not,
Milliwatts, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And then so it connects to the wires or whatever you want to connect it to a repeater system.
By-
Through the internet.
By Wi-Fi
By
or
Wi-Fi,
cellular?
usually I
or
connect it
wired?
to my phone. I connect it to my phone, to the light, to
If
the
I had it at
internet.
home though, I'd want to plug it into the.
Yeah, you can
Oh,
do
you
it,
can
through the Ethernet cable. A lot of them they're Wi-Fi.
This is one of those things where everybody talks about it as if everybody already knows.
No,
everything about it.
exactly.
So that makes me
That's-
think it's Linux based, because that's.
That's how
Everyone knows what you're talking about.
Another way to explain that is when John earlier said that if you drove from here to Indianapolis and you had all those different repeaters,
Right.
okay, then you could talk to people.
It's sort of.
With the hotspot, you go into the reflector,
On the internet.
the W9ILS reflector, and you have got all those repeaters. I mean, there was a guy on there from Dayton, talking on this little HT, Las Vegas. I mean, they're all over. But I'm picking them up through the hotspot.
So in ancient times, what we would do is we would just.
You would change frequency.
You would look up all those repeaters on.
Right,
the
you don't
computer
have
wherever
to,
you're
you
going.
stay in one
Okay,
place.
well, that's handy, that'll probably keep you from crashing into a tree.
Yeah, and all those are listed in here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
you
there's
connect-
nothing really to look up.
So your radio transmits back and forth to that connects to the internet, to that.
But you would only do that if you didn't have a repeater handy to use.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so
I
it
mean,
makes sense.
Here's a little white box where you connect to a cell phone.
Gotcha. What should I look for on Google?
You can search for MMDVM, it'll give you a lot of.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
this is a Sharp RF.
Sharp RF, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote that down.
Zoom spot.
And then John, you said Pi-Star?
Zoom spot.
Zoom spot.
MMDVM, Pi-Star is the operating system on it.
Yeah, Pi-Star is the operating system.
Oh,
So MMDVM,
okay.
Shark RF, Zoom spot, and then Shark, you said Shark
Okay.
RF, so you got all those, there's a bunch of them. But when you do the thing, don't just do hotspot, you're gonna
No,
get
I know.
Wi-Fi hotspots, you wanna do digital hotspot.
Mike, Delta, Victor, Mike.
Multiple mode,
MMDVM, yes, that's right.
yeah, DVM, right.
Excellent, thanks.
Yeah. Say it again,
Multi-mode, digital voice mode.
yeah, thank you, multi-mode digital voice
That
mode.
brings a lot of clarity, thank you.
Yeah,
All that is, that's just a little board on a Raspberry Pi. It's always best to go into the system RF, but if you can't, that gives you options. I travel all over the country, I run a hotspot. I have a regular Wi-Fi router that's linked to, and I can run on the Indiana Link South anywhere I go. I can fit Oklahoma City, the fairgrounds, the horse show down there. This weekend on Cape Girardeau, I was on Indiana Link South the whole time I was on. Okay. But it's always best to RF into the repeater itself.
Which one do you use?
I use a Raspberry Pi 4 or 3G Plus with a Zoom board for Lone Star board on.
I got two, I got an MDVM and I got a Sharp RF open spot.
I've never used the Sharp, but
It was just
a lot of people
I
have a lot of.
I find it terribly intuitive, so simple with Sharp RF, and I struggle with MDVM when I really have a hard time. And the open spot.
Buy a HRO, one from HRO that's got a Pi, that's on a Pi-Star for like $250. Sharps, actually, them are, got a battery in them. What? Yours have a battery?
Yeah.
I don't know much about the Sharp RF, but I believe the last two models have batteries in them. You can go out riding a bicycle with your HD.
You say Sharp or Sharp?
Sharp. Sharp.
It's got like, it's supposed to last 30 hours. I don't think it will.
Uzi and on my computer and get into the D-Star network through that without a hotspot or anything else. It doesn't translate to the other formats, but it's a cheap and dirty way to get on. So just throw that out there.
I mean, we're talking about good old fashioned voice over IP, right? So that's,
Basically, yeah.
yeah.
So if you're on your XC radio and you're going to your Sharp RF hotspot, you can go to D-Star too, right? You can talk to somebody D-Star across.
Yeah, if you got the shark or whatever. I don't, I'm cheap.
Anything else?
Thank you, John, appreciate it.
All right.